Okay, let's just get right into it. Everywhere you look right now, every news feed, every single business article, people are talking about generative AI. It's an absolute global buzz. But beyond all the hype and the headlines, what's actually happening behind the screen? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify generative AI, and we'll break down exactly how it evolved from these incredibly complex deep learning algorithms into the creative, everyday machines we interact with right now.
Just think about this quote from the New York Times, calling it a coming out party for generative AI. Since late 2022, this technology didn't just casually step into the mainstream, it practically kicked the door down. In 2023, that was a massive milestone year. With the release of powerhouse models like OpenAI's GPT-4, we saw AI systems that could generate these incredibly nuanced, creative responses and literally passed the bar exam. Silicon Valley's new craze very quickly became the entire world's new reality.
To get there, here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The AI landscape explained. 2. What is generative AI? 3. How generative AI works. 4. Tools and real-world impact. And 5. Benefits and ethical challenges.
All right, Section 1, the AI landscape explained.
You hear these buzzwords thrown around interchangeably all the time, right? But they actually fit inside one another, kind of like Russian nesting dolls. Let's break them down from the outside in to really anchor our understanding.
The biggest, outermost doll is artificial intelligence, or just AI. This is the grand, overarching goal, developing intelligent machines capable of exhibiting human-like intelligence, thinking, and problem-solving. Think of a device like Amazon's Alexa responding to your voice commands to dim the lights. That's AI in action, basically imitating human behavior to solve a task.
Pop that open, and one layer deeper, we find machine learning. Now, the crucial point here is that in traditional software, a human literally has to write explicit programming rules for every single scenario, while machine learning completely flips that. It's a subset of AI that empowers systems to learn and improve from experience organically. We do this by training models on vast amounts of data, basically letting the machine figure out the rules entirely on its own.
And then we reach the innermost doll, deep learning. This is the core engine powering our modern AI breakthroughs. Deep learning uses highly complex algorithms, specifically deep neural networks, to extract intricate, hidden patterns from absolutely massive volumes of data. It simulates the learning and decision-making processes of the actual human brain. And it's this exact deep learning foundation that leads us directly to the star of today's explainer.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2. What is generative AI? The new creative partner.
To really understand why this is such a game changer, look at the difference here. Traditional or discriminative AI primarily analyzes, classifies, and predicts based on existing data. It's an analyst. Generative AI does something entirely different. It learns those underlying patterns, and then it generates completely original, net new content from scratch: text, images, audio, video, code. It doesn't just predict, it actively acts as a creator.
And honestly, this is why it matters to you personally. Gen AI has literally the lowest barrier to entry and the highest immediate return on investment for your time right now. Because you can just interact with it using simple everyday language, it acts as your own new creative partner. Mastering these tools is rapidly becoming an absolute non-negotiable career skill.
So, let's peek under the hood. Section 3. How generative AI works. Under the hood.
According to IBM, this generally boils down to a three-phase process. Step 1 is training. Here, the generative model encodes a simplified representation of massive, unlabeled datasets to create what we call a foundation model. Step 2 is tuning, where that broad foundation model gets tailored to a very specific application. And finally, Step 3 is generation and evaluation, where the AI produces the output based on your prompt and then continually assesses and retunes itself to improve quality and accuracy. If we look at the actual architecture, we generally see two massive types of systems. Diffusion models are absolute powerhouses for visual and multimedia content, famously transforming your text prompts into stunning photorealistic images. Then we have autoregressive models. These are the large language models that learn words, relationships, and concepts to generate highly coherent, flowing text.
Let's bring this into the real world. Section 4. Tools and real-world impact, Gen AI in action.
You're probably already using some of these heavy hitters every single day in your search engines or your software suites.
We've got ChatGPT leading the charge for text, research, and code generation, DALL-E 3 for generating brilliant images and concept art. There's Microsoft Copilot, which integrates this tech right into your daily productivity software, and Google Gemini, acting as an incredibly powerful standalone AI assistant.
But let's think about what this actually looks like in a concrete business reality. Imagine you're a marketing professional. You can now use Gen AI to brainstorm 20 different ad headlines, draft a full blog post, generate a totally unique image for a social media campaign, and write a follow-up email sequence, all in a matter of minutes. It compresses hours and hours of labor-intensive, tedious work into mere seconds, completely freeing up your time for higher-value strategic thinking.
And look, generative AI is absolutely not just for tech companies. It's actively transforming massive, traditional sectors across the board. In healthcare, it's providing incredible new pathways to assist doctors. In finance, it's totally transforming customer service. It's augmenting Hollywood writers in entertainment. And it's even acting as personalized one-on-one tutors in education.
But we have to look at the whole story. Section 5, Benefits and Ethics, the full picture.
We're really looking at a pretty stark dichotomy here. On one hand, we see incredible benefits, far greater efficiency, massive cost cutting, and the ability to unlock human creativity by just completely plowing through creative blocks. But conversely, we face some really complex challenges. We're dealing with the rapid spread of fake information, highly realistic deepfakes, thorny copyright issues, and the persistent, serious risk of bias embedded directly within these systems. We have to be really thoughtful about how we navigate these hurdles.
And of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. There's widespread societal anxiety regarding job replacement in the workforce. But as this quote from The Economist objectively points out, don't fear an AI-induced jobs apocalypse just yet. While the technology is rapidly automating certain repetitive tasks, humans are still winning the creative battle for now. The focus across industries right now is on how AI can augment human creativity and productivity rather than entirely replacing the human element.
All right, let's wrap this up. Section 6, Conclusion, Final Thoughts.
Let's do a rapid-fire recap so you remember the most important takeaways from this explainer. 1. Generative AI is a highly advanced subset of deep learning. 2. Unlike traditional AI, it creates completely novel content from simple natural language prompts. 3. It's driven by massive foundation models that encode just incredible amounts of training data. And 4. Its exponential growth and widespread use absolutely demand careful, responsible deployment to navigate the ethical challenges it presents.
So I'll leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought to ponder. As generative AI continue to evolve and fundamentally transforms what it actually means to create, to work, and to learn, how will we balance our own unique human ingenuity with the strict necessity of responsible AI? It's arguably the defining question of our new technological era. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope it brought you some clarity today, and as always, keep exploring.